Today on 9 News Mornings, affordable housing is hard to come by in Denver and may be getting harder. New this morning, the help available for families in need. Also ahead, these kids are spending the end of their summer on the ice. What it takes to be one of the best curlers in the world. The road to state starts now for high school bands, and this one is determined to get back on top. From Friday night lights to Saturday morning lights to Sunday afternoon lights, it's a big football weekend in Colorado, and we're getting ready for it all. 9 News Mornings starts now. And it's already shaping up to be one of the biggest football weekends we have seen in Colorado in a very long time. No shortage of excitement this weekend from CU's first home game of the season and the first since their big win to the Broncos home opener and first regular season game with Sean Payton as head coach. So we, of course, have a lot of fun stuff to get to this morning. Our Erica Lopez is going to join us live from Empower Field here in just a minute.
But first, we want to get a check of the forecast with Chris Bianchi. Chris, any folks going to the game on Sunday, they might want to bring a poncho.
Yeah, just a good idea, just in case. I'm hoping, knocking on the invisible wood over here, that the rain holds off until after the game. But at this point, it does look like we're going to be dealing with at least a chance for some showers and storms during the Bronco game. By the way, Buff game up in Folsom Field, A-OK for tomorrow. Just bring your sunscreen for that one. And the story for today, similar to what we had yesterday. You guessed it. More sunshine, more of a breeze today compared to yesterday, but otherwise, basically the same thing that we saw yesterday. We're doing it all over again for your day today. Upper 80s, low to mid 90s on the eastern plains. If you want some relief, go up to the mountains. 70s for us for those highs into the high country. But those highs for today, it's again upper 80s to about 90 degrees for most of us along the Front Range. You will notice some wildfire smoke at times though for today. We do have air quality alerts for the eastern plains, and those will probably get extended. It looks like we will see some of that smoke around throughout much of the day today on the far eastern plains. Denver area could see some little bit of intermittent wildfire smoke out here along the metro area. Now, as we get into your Sunday, that's when we see those big changes. Showers and storms move on through. I'll have details on that Broncos forecast coming up in a few minutes, my full forecast.
Chris Bianchi, thank you so much. Right now, we, of course, want to talk about the Friday morning drive before we get into a little bit more about Sunday's game as well out here live at Empower Field. We are following our first crash of the morning out here on southbound I-25. If you're going to be traveling through the Thornton area, we want to show you what we're dealing with. A bit of a slowdown into Northglenn. That crash southbound I-25 right around 84th, and then a secondary crash we're getting reports of behind that right around Thornton Parkway. So because it's still early and volume is so light at this hour, we're not seeing any major impacts. We're dealing with about maybe a 4-minute slowdown through that stretch. Denver to Boulder Drive, though, in really good shape on westbound Highway 36. You've got the green light and a 16-minute travel time there. 13 minutes is what we're seeing, excuse me, on both sides of I-25 between the Denver Tech Center and downtown. And certainly you're going to be expecting a lot of traffic around the area of Empower Field on Sunday with the Broncos game here, the first preseason game at home against the Raiders. Tip-off, of course, 2:25. As far as getting out here to the stadium, couple options, of course. Ride sharing, Uber and Lyft is an option. RTD also an option as well, but that MyRide service to the Broncos Stadium, that is gone for good. We told you about that before the preseason game, but that is in effect for good going through the rest of this season. So RTD is still an option if you do want to do that in general. But again, that Broncos ride service is suspended between, RTD suspended the service between Denver area park and ride stations and the stadium before the 2020, 2021, and 2022 football state seasons. This year, it canceled it permanently, saying its existing rail and bus lines can handle all the traffic. RTD will add rail cars to its EW and N lines before and after Broncos home games this season. The E and W lines both serve Empower Field at Mile High Station. The N line connects to Union Station. And RTD Free Rides for All is over. That ended in August, but they do have the free rides for youth in effect. So anyone 19 and younger is going to ride through next August for free on RTD. So that's an option still. Your kiddos potentially can ride for free getting out here to the game at Empower Field on Sunday. And one more thing, if you actually have the RTD app in the destination field, you can type Broncos in there, and it's going to help you with options of the best way to get to the stadium out here at Empower Field from wherever you are. So that is a really neat feature. Of course, the start of a new season means another head coach this season as well. Our Alexandra Lewis is connecting the dots on the new and old faces you're going to be seeing this season.
For the fourth time in 7 years, the Denver Broncos are adjusting to a new head coach. After taking a chance on first-time head coach Nathaniel Hackett ended in his firing before last season even ended, Broncos ownership went the veteran route. Sean Payton has been around the block, having spent 16 years with the New Orleans Saints. He won a Super Bowl in 2009 and was named Coach of the Year in 2006. Payton's bringing some veteran assistant coaches with him, too. Offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi has had 2 previous stints in the role with the Chargers and Lions and worked under Payton in New Orleans for more than a decade. And the defensive coordinator isn't a new face at all. Former Broncos head coach Vance Joseph is back in the Mile High City after 4 years as D coordinator in Arizona. Payton's also got veteran leadership in his ear. Assistant head coach Mike Westhoff has 30-plus years of NFL experience. There are still some young guys in the coaching ranks. QB coach Davis Webb was playing in the NFL as recently as January. But this time around, Greg Penner is betting on experience instead of upside.
Of course, just so much hype and excitement around this new leadership. Jordan and Corey, I know we're all hoping that it pays off. It looks like it did based on that final preseason game right here at home. So we can only hope for a repeat or better here on Sunday.
Now we just need Erica's optimism to spread to the rest of the people at home right now. Erica, our poll, people are not as optimistic. 73% saying that they don't think the team's going to make the playoffs.
Wow. Well, let's prove them wrong, guys.
Yes. I think it's because of what we're coming off the hype from last season. Everyone had these glass half full last season, and then we saw what happened. And so here we are kind of in the similar situation.
We need the optimism, though, at the beginning of the season,
Agreed.
at least, you know?
Agreed.
Lean in, just lean into the momentum there. All right,
Yeah.
Erica, thank you. Everybody can keep weighing in, by the way, on 9news.com/vote now. We're going to check in on the results throughout the morning. Now, of course, it's not just a big weekend for the Broncos. In just a few hours, Pearl Street and Boulder will be packed as CU's fans get ready for the Buffs home game. Tonight is the first Pearl Street Stampede of the season. The team, marching band, and coaching staff will all parade down Pearl Street with Buffs fans cheering them on. It starts in front of the county courthouse at 7 o'clock tonight. Then the game against Nebraska is tomorrow at 10 a.m.
All this hype for the Buffs means business, and Boulder has really a very busy weekend ahead.
Right. Now, the prime effect is really in full force. Business owners tell us that they plan to extend their hours and bring in extra staff.
At Avanti on Pearl Street, they're also bringing in extra food and drinks, all the drinks.
I've never seen a liquor order like what we had this week. I have never seen people who hours after a game are coming in and still chanting our songs, still chanting the fight songs. And so that's what we're expecting. This is new, this is so exciting for us, and it's game changing for us for sure.
Stores are also selling a ton of Buffs merch, especially with Coach Prime's catchphrases on them. And tomorrow's game is already sold out, which seems to be the trend this season. We're going to have live coverage of both of these games all weekend long. You can follow along anytime on our 9 News app or 9news.com.
It is now 6:07 on your Friday morning, and right now CPW wants you to be on the lookout for a bear in the Broomfield area. Broomfield police say that they have gotten calls about a bear near Zuni Street and Stella Meadow Drive, just north of 144th. Officers say it was also spotted in Westminster. Lafayette police said that someone spotted the same bear near the Copperstone Apartments around 8 p.m. Now, if you see this bear, you are asked to call 911 and report it.
New this morning, Denver needs affordable housing, and the housing that is being built in the city isn't filling the need.
Yeah, our Anusha Roy is following the story for us this morning. And Anusha, why exactly is it so hard to find affordable housing right now?
Yeah, there are some statistics that are really shedding light on exactly why the market is so tight. And part of the issue is that we are still seeing more developers build more units for higher earners versus those who do need assistance, and then not enough rental units for families. Now, that is based on data that the Denver's Department of Housing Stability has now shared with City Council. It shows from 2010 to 2019, we saw 34,000 rental units come online, but most of those were for higher earners. When you look at affordable housing, though, right now there are roughly 26,000 rental units total, but as many as 130 households who could benefit from affordable housing.
The supply and demand is very much far off. I mean, we have lacking 20,000 units at deep affordabilities. So we just have a lack of competition at those higher level price points, and just a lot of cost pressures with land and construction costs that are lending to larger investor returns.
So all of this is highlighting an entire community that is often missed. We are talking about families and single parents. It's why you see projects like this off of Alameda, where the Warren Village is building housing specifically for single parents with childcare on site. Right now in Denver, a lot of the units coming online are studios or one bedrooms that just don't make sense for families living in the city right now. So what the city is trying to do is sweeten the deal for developers. They're offering low interest, no interest loans to make building affordable housing a lot more viable. There's also a voucher program that will help cover rent so people can stay in their homes and developers can make ends meet. And another 2,000 affordable city-funded units are under construction. But if anything, it just kind of gives you a big picture of just how tight the market is, and it's not keeping up. I mean, even the city says there's a big mismatch here.
I'm glad they're trying to figure things out here, but the housing market altogether is really rough. I mean, between affordable housing, the interest rates, the inventory, it's tough.
It absolutely is. And then you kind of look at the different levels of what people need, and you think about these families who are either living in their cars or shelters, or with families with very few options to go to find an affordable place to live.
Yeah, Nusha, it's a big bummer out there. Okay, thank you very much for your reporting.
I'm Courtney Yoon here at Littleton High School with the best marching band in the land. Coming up, we'll have a lot more from the Littleton High School marching band. You'll want to stay tuned.
It is now 6:12 on your Friday morning. This is a live look outside the 9U studios at Spirit in Logan. Chris will be back with your forecast here in just a couple of minutes as we get ready for another hot day. We know that we've been talking a lot about the Broncos and the Buffs this morning, but high school marching bands have spent weeks getting ready for their Friday night lights.
They worked so hard through the summer. Courtney Yoon is live at Littleton High School for the last stop on our Hearts of Champions tour. This is one of your favorite things to do during this time of year, Courtney.
I know. Good morning, Jordan and Corey. I'm really sad that it's our last one. I know I told you guys that last time, but I'm very excited because Littleton High School's marching band is really awesome. They're so good. I'm joined with Milo Wedding. He's a senior here at Littleton High School. Good morning, Milo.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit, or tell us about this song you guys are going to play.
So we're going to play Respect.
Oh my gosh, great. All right, let's hear it then. So what do you like about this song in particular?
I like the culture behind it. Like, obviously, it's a pretty well-known song. Like, even before I knew the full song, I knew, like, the chorus, like, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Like, so when we're marching down the street and we play that, people recognize it. And it's so fun to go to see people, like, see the excitement on their faces. Like, oh, I know this song. Because, you know, it's so much fun.
Oh, totally. You get that energy from the crowd.
Yeah. It's, like, one of my favorite parts about parades.
So, Milo, you're in the percussion section. Tell us what you play and why you like it.
So I'm in the front ensemble. I play a marimba, which is kind of like a piano's younger cousin, I guess. I enjoy the melodic part of it, but I also enjoy it because it's such a lively instrument, and there's so many different ways you can play it. And I also don't have to have a massive lung capacity, so.
Awesome. And we know that you guys went to finals for the first time last year. Are you excited about competition?
Yes, oh my God. I'm such a competitive person, so getting to finals like that for the first time was such a thrill, and I want to do even better this year, so.
Awesome, that's really exciting. Well, we're wishing the best for you guys this year in competition and hope you guys do a great job. We'll be following up with you guys to see how you do. Thank you for being here this morning, Milo.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys, so you heard Milo. They're really excited for competition, and I can tell, I think they're ready. I think they're ready for this, you guys. We'll have a lot more coming back, up from Littleton High School.
They sound great, Courtney. I mean, and their competition season is here.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be going soon. So yeah, you can tell they've been practicing hard this summer. They practice for hours and hours over the summertime, so you can really tell that it's paid off for them.
Well, that hard work, yeah, is absolutely paying off, and we're excited to see how they do at competition, so we'll have to check back in with them when that happens. Courtney, thank you.
Oh, that is awesome. Meantime, in terms of the weather picture for today, fairly similar to yesterday for today, with Highs right around 90 degrees, a bit of a breeze, and also lots of sunshine, though we will have maybe a bit more wildfire smoke today compared to yesterday. That's not good news, but a bit breezy at times. Big changes coming up, though, for this weekend. Wildfire smoke will lead to some of these air quality alerts. These are in place until 9 a.m. for the Eastern Plains, also some for us here in southwestern Colorado as well. I would expect that those would be extended because it looks like some more smoke moves in later on today. Upper 80s, low 90s for today. And for us here in Denver, our average high for today is 83 degrees. We're going to be way above that. We're going to be close to 10 degrees above average, and it's also going to be a bit breezy at times. You'll probably notice that breeze pick up a little bit during the afternoon and early evening, about 20, 25 miles an hour with those top gusts. Now, forecast, it stays dry for today. Maybe the slightest chance for a shower in the far eastern plains. Before tonight, temperatures drop back into the upper 50s. For tomorrow, 87 with a very, very slight chance for an afternoon shower or storm for tomorrow. Not a big deal. I wouldn't plan around it. Just know that there's a slight chance for an afternoon shower or storm for tomorrow. Now, this is the real deal. This is the big deal here, folks, that we're going to talk about for the last few days. Sharp cold front moves through overnight tomorrow night and into Sunday morning. Exact time will determine some of this, but it looks like we'll be certainly much cooler with some showers and even a few rumbles of thunder around for your Sunday, and that could lead to some impacts to that Broncos game coming up here on your Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, it looks just kind of cool and fall-like, and then for the rest of the week, it stays kind of unsettled. But I'll leave you with this as I send things over to Erica Lopez, who's out at Empower Field at Mile High. Your official forecast for Sunday, the Broncos game, doesn't look all that great. Hopefully the rain holds off, though.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. A good heads up there. I know we're all going to have our fingers crossed that the rain holds off out here on Sunday as well. We, of course, want to talk about the Friday morning drive because all of a sudden we've got 3 crashes on southbound I-25 almost consecutively from North Glen all the way down to Thornton. So I'm going to zoom in here. Major impacts already to travel through this area. Again, we've got that crash clearing at southbound I-25 at 84th. That was the first one reported. Second one at Thornton Parkway, and then a third now at 104th Avenue in North Glen. So up to almost a 30-minute travel time between 144th Avenue and 76 already. Recommending taking Washington Street or Huron Street. Both of those run parallel to the interstate because, again, we are already at a crawl. Aside from that, little bit of change in color on westbound 76 is the only other thing we're following. You've got about a 6-minute backup heading into Commerce City at this hour. Jordan, Corey?
All right, Erica, thank you. We'll check back in at Empower Field later. But first, just under 24 hours to go until what's shaping up to be one of the biggest football games CU has seen in a long time.
Garnering a lot of attention from around the country. Former Buffs interim head coach Mike Sanford joins us this morning. Thanks so much for being with us up early this morning.
Hey, good morning. Good being on with you guys this morning. And what a weekend of football in the Front Range. A lot to look forward to as a football fan.
It's so true. I know it's exciting. So CU came out swinging in their opener against TCU. Now they have a rivalry game. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit different ball game than what we saw in TCU game. I think for the most part, Nebraska has proven that they can play pretty physical football up front. But I just don't see Nebraska having the opportunity to keep up with the scoring. Shedeur Sanders and the slew of receivers and the running back and Dylan Edwards. I think it's going to be a breakneck pace, particularly in the second half once CU settles in.
Mike, I want to ask you because we saw something that ended up being a little bit of an advantage for CU going into their game last weekend against TCU, and that's the fact that there really was no game tape for TCU to really study about this new team. But now as they head into Nebraska, Nebraska is obviously studying that game from last weekend. How is this going to change things for tomorrow's game?
Well, I think it changes some things. You know, obviously there was game tape from Kent State offensively last year with Sean Lewis bringing that offense, but I think for the most part, CU is going to do what they do, and that's going to be spread out all their skill players, and Nebraska's going to have to defend it. I just think there'll be a little bit more pressure. TCU played more of a 3-man rush, a little bit more passive. I think Nebraska is going to attempt to get a little bit more pressure in Shedeur's face. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we are so pumped up. Mike, thank you. By the way, Mike's going to be joining us throughout the football season to talk about the Buffs and the Broncos, so we are looking forward to that. Mike, thanks.
Thank you very much.
And I'm Matt Renew at the Denver Curling Center, where there are around 100 of the world's best young athletes who are competing in a big event to see who will go to the Youth Olympics in South Korea, and maybe someday the Adult Olympics after that. We'll have that sweep story coming up on 9 News.
Welcome back. The best young curlers in the country are in Denver for a big competition this weekend.
Yeah, what we're learning this morning is we got a lot of talented youth in Colorado. Our man of the mountains, Matt Renew, is at the Denver Curling Center this morning. And Matt, there was a lot at stake here.
There are a lot at stake, Jordan and Corey. Good morning. And this is probably the biggest youth curling competition of the year, with young curlers between the ages of 14 and 17 spending the next several days here in Denver competing to see who will represent the United States at the Youth Olympics in South Korea. At the Denver Curling Center,
I'm actually a 5th generation curler
Bella Hagenbaugh and her curling team out of Illinois
out of the Waltham Curling Club in Triumph, Illinois.
are up against around 100 of the country's best young curlers.
It's for mixed curling, so 2 boys, 2 girls on the team.
That Aaron Kaler with USA Curling says are sweeping and sliding in the Youth Curling Olympic Trials.
They have the opportunity to represent their country at an international level.
Spending 4 days to see which team will represent the United States at the Youth Olympics in South Korea.
Which is a huge deal. It's an Olympic event, opening ceremonies, all that fun stuff.
A big deal, and why Bella says you might see her curling in Denver at the Youth Olympic Trials now.
I'm hoping 2030.
But someday, maybe you'll see her at the Adult Olympics.
My long-term goal, in my life, is to make it to the Olympics.
Cool event, a lot of talented kids here competing, and the event started yesterday, but it's going to continue through Sunday with teams battling it out to see who will be that best team that goes on to South Korea, and the public's welcome to come as well to the Denver Curling Center here in Golden. Watch, it's pretty exciting stuff. Once you start watching, you can't stop. And I know we got the Broncos and Buffs, but Corey and Jordan, I know where you're going to be. If anyone is going to be watching curling and then maybe even giving some pointers, it's going to be the two of you. Because I know you guys can push that hammer past the hog line.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a good sweeper, let me tell you.
Well, I was going to say, the only problem with that picture is actually Corey's the muscle of us, too. So she's going to be the one pushing while I sweep, Matt.
Look at that. Look at the two of you smiling while you're doing it as well.
I will tell you, I have tried curling. I was not smiling, Matt. That is hard.
It is.
It is hard, and you know, we've got some video of all that, and I thought maybe we would show it, but after looking at these teenagers do it, we don't need that kind of embarrassment going into the weekend.
No, we don't, Matt. All right, thank you, my friend. Let's get a check of your forecast now with Chris.
I just can't believe that Matt got that footage there. That
exclusive.
Is incredible. Yeah, I just couldn't tell. Definitely not photoshopped. In terms of today, high temperatures right around 90 degrees for us here in the Denver area once again. But if you're looking for that fall-like cool down, it is coming. Just wait a couple days and we'll get there. Upper 80s, low 90s for today on the Eastern Plains, 70s into the high country for tomorrow. Upper 80s with a slight chance for an afternoon shower or storm. Most of us should stay dry. I would not plan around it, but what I would plan around, Sunday and Monday, widespread rain, showers and storms. And at this point, it looks like Sunday night and Monday will be our wettest time period. And that would put it right on the cusp of that Broncos game. So plan for rain if you're heading to the Broncos game on Sunday. But you know what? I'm literally knocking on wood right now. Hopefully it holds off until after the game.
All right, keep knocking, Chris. We are live right now at Empower Field, and it's Orange Friday, of course. We're getting you prepared for everything you need to know about Sunday's game, including the improvements out here at Empower Field. That's all coming up in the next half hour.